to do, which is this. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
Hey, everyone. What is up? Welcome to episode 166 of Lords of the Storm, a Heroes of the Storm podcast. My name is Greg Gizmo Zord Parker, and I'm joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multizord Ellis and Ryan TBK Zord Reader. And on this week's episode, Heroes Charity Brawl 2018 approaches, Nexomania has begun, and thoughts on Lunablo, and much more. I tried like Diablara.
Diablunara also works.
Diablunara. I probably should have gone with that.
They actually both work.
Lunablo actually seems to flow the best.
Yeah,
How about Lunarablo?
Lunarablo.
Sounds like a festival.
It does.
You know, it sounds like it's a Nexomania thing.
Next...
Lunarablo. I don't know. I'm on something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be a thing. One of those. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to extend it, and I have nothing. How are you both doing this evening? Multi, we'll start with you.
I'm doing pretty well, although my allergies are killing me. So if it ever seems like I just have my mic muted for a while, it's because my throat's on fire.
Your throat is on fire. I've heard.
Yes.
Is it you got strep? I've heard the strep is going around.
No. But I know people that have it, and I've been exposed. So I'm taking vitamin C like it's out of style.
Cool.
The strep.
It's
graduated.
Strep.
It's not just
like
strep. It's the strep.
It's strep for anyone else, but for the Kevin, it's the strep.
Have it.
Because regular strep doesn't get him, doesn't touch the Kevin. It has to be the strep. So
the one and only streptococcus or whatever the full word is. Throat.
Never heard that before. We got Lunarablo Streptococcus. It's the title of this week's episode. TBK, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderfully. It has been an extremely busy week between multiple projects and deadlines, but it's starting to come together, and we're here, and we're talking about heroes, so it's going to be good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Everything's going to work out.
Streptococcus actually is the word. Not to be confused with staphylococcus, which is a staph infection.
So are all these things like the flu? Well, that's influenza. That's a bad example.
There's a lot more
like
ococcuses.
Chicken pox? Is that a chicken poxococcus? Or like you got
come for the medical terms.
Coldococcus instead of just a cold.
Content.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. A sinus infection, a coccus.
I will personally diagnose everyone in the chat right now. Just air your issues, and we will talk this over.
Well,
I'm not licensed, by the way.
What have you guys been up to in gaming this week? I imagine all of us have been playing quite a bit of Heroes because of the next Mania event. But I don't know if you guys have been dabbling in anything else, Multi?
Actually, I haven't had as much of a chance to the past couple of days since it came out, but I did my pre-homework. I got a few heroes ready to go. I had Malfurion at like 2,000 to go over to the next level, and I was able to knock that out today, so got to squeeze a little bit in there. But otherwise, I haven't had much of a chance to Nexomania it up. I mean, I got in and I checked out the skins and all the different tints and, of course, the bundles that they're in and all that good stuff to kind of prep myself for the event. But otherwise, we played some Hearthstone and, having a busy week, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. I have been doing the whole, get heroes leveled up to get chests. and it's been kind of rough on some heroes. There's been some people I haven't touched in a long time that I probably won't after this event until the next event.
Like who?
Alex Straza.
Oh, interesting.
I'm awful with her.
I
Kate,
guess you're not much of a support guy though, like generally.
some like
I mean, you can play it, but it's
Lucio,
not like your
Lucio
thing.
and Karazim are like the supports I play. I'm not a huge
yeah.
fan of Malfurion or anything anymore. But Thrall I actually really have been enjoying. But
Malf is super cool now. That the timer is really easy to like see and
It is
follow.
pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I may have to check it out.
I like
See.
it.
But yeah, it's pretty much just been heroes for me trying to get them chests. TBK, what about you?
Yep, all heroes all the time. I played Lunara, Diablo. We played a little bit the other night as well, which was a lot of fun. Played some Malf trying to get the ones that were close over the edge. I really need to get Hanzo to 5, but I just don't want to. I hate him. I hate him so much.
Yeah,
I know it's like he's just sitting there. It's just like, look, TBK, free chess, and it's just like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want you. I don't want your chess, Hanzo.
I've got him at like 4.5 as well. So,
it's,
but whether or not you won his chest, TBK, he is always going to show you half of it.
it's true.
That's true.
He is now
Can
my
always
lowest.
count on that.
He is now my lowest. So maybe he's next. I'm really scared to play some KT, some Kel'Thuzad, for some
Oh, yeah?
reason. I just
I kind of am too, honestly, because there's an art to playing him properly,
yeah.
and I never really got there. I mean, I
Well, you gotta have the right
but
team for him. You really do.
That's
'cause
true, too.
He is so squishy and completely immobile. And so if you don't have a team that can at least protect you somewhat, you're just gonna die constantly.
yeah, good point.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we do have heroes to talk about, so let's go ahead hop on into the news. All right. First up, Heroes Charity Brawl 2018 is coming June 2nd, which I just said that date and realized like 30 minutes ago before the show. The restaurant I was working at said, "Hey, can you work Saturday, June 2nd?" And I said, "Yeah." I'm going to have to immediately text them and say, "No,
Right.
I cannot." I cannot work Saturday, June 2nd because what am I doing, TBK? I'm raising money for children. I'm helping. raise
That's
money for
right.
children.
That's right.
That's the real work.
Yes.
It is the
Yes.
real work. And it's so mark your calendars, guys. June 2nd, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 4 Central time. We're going to be going for about 5 hours. It's going to be on twitch.tv/frogpants. It's going to have Lords of the Storm, Into the Nexus, Heroes Forge, Core, and Jules Scott, who I think we mentioned just a few times last episode. And it's going to be super fun. We had one of our games meetings just the other week, and we've got a lot of good stuff lined up. Some old favorites, some new stuff. So I'm pretty excited. Really hope you'll join us. We're hoping our goal this year is $5,000, and we're raising money for Make-A-Wish. And everyone has blown us away every single time with just your passion for the community and the amount of money that you've raised. We've already got $340 in there.
Yeah.
You guys are freaking awesome. So I hope you show up. We'll have a ton of fun. We'll have giveaways. It'll be a really good time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super looking forward to it. We're bringing a lot of favorites back, and we're doing some new stuff this year, which is going to be super cool. But,
Yeah, and Gizmo, just to be clear, I did mark my calendar with it, but then my mom took that calendar entry and put this big red line through it and said family
Threw that
thing
calendar in the
instead.
trash.
Yep. Now I need a whole new calendar. I don't know. It was one of the like swimsuit ones too, but whatever. I'll
yes.
see what I can do.
Yep. And remember that the
They're all
website
pictures of Gizmo.
is
Yes.
.net.
No, they're
Like
the
you're a
regular
fisherman.
pictures. I just cut out Gizmo's face and put
What?
them over all of them.
What?
Just go with this, man. Just go with it. It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
You
Go on
mean you
with it.
didn't know?
didn't. I did not know.
Mm.
Next Mania is live. As of yesterday, we have lots of cool stuff. Some loot chests, some skins, some reworks, and of course, just to kick things off, if you're not Team Sonya, you're on the wrong team. I'm sorry.
What? I
Yep.
thought you were gonna go.
Whoa.
Lunar.
No, you guys tried converting me last
Traitor.
week. You tried converting me and you failed.
Lunara is best.
No.
Agreed. With TBK.
If they gave her boots, I'd totally be Team Lunar. But there's no boots, just hooves.
You don't need boots when you have hooves.
But they have shoes anyways, so why not give them boots?
Yeah, good point. Good point. The shoes
See?
never made much sense to me, but I don't really know the science behind centaurs and horses.
Lunara is going to be waving at Sonya as she leaves her behind in the dust, hippity hopping.
I don't know.
Away.
I think the Team Sonya is just we're the silent majority. I think we're the
Not
silent
according
majority.
to the poll on the Heroes of the Storm Twitter.
Yeah.
Silent majority.
Wait, who's winning on Twitter?
We don't need to vote. Because I didn't
Because on
vote.
Facebook it was Lunara winning.
So, well, yeah, because we don't vote. We don't need to. You guys, this is your
Lunara
victory.
is winning 57% to 43%
Yeah.
right now.
Oh.
We're just this
Looks
is,
like we're on the right side of history, Gizmo.
This is your victory, the thinking that you're winning thing, and then the actual statistics are going to come out, and it's going to be Team Sonya. So, take
And
that.
then you die from poison.
Take that. No, because I play Diablo, and a healing fountain heals me 7,000 health.
Maybe Team Lunara is going to win the popular vote, but then there's some weird system in which Sonya wins anyway. That would be weird if something like that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Silent but non-existent majority.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, this quest has started, and whichever side you picked, you will still get the El Guapo if you complete the quest line. So make sure and do that. But if you want the cool portraits and sprays and stuff, you can go Sonya. Or probably not, because you probably already picked a side, and you probably picked the wrong side. But regrets
you did have to
are
pick
part of life.
right out the gate, which
You
I
did.
thought was interesting. And I kind of like the UI for it. The fact that you had to select the sides and it was all flavorful with Nexomania and everything. I don't know. It was a good lead up to what is again a great title screen in there.
You can literally not play the game until you make this decision.
Was there
Exactly.
was there cool music for the intro and then the bell ringing? Because my headset wasn't
believe so,
working
yeah.
when I started it, and I was really upset because I couldn't get it to do it again.
Yeah, and then the El Guapo announcer came on and all this stuff. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
Stupid headset. But yeah, I've been having a blast with it. Again, you can get those loot chests, and potentially get Nexomania stuff.
I've not had good luck getting Nexomania stuff out of my loot chests
Yeah,
yet.
I
A
know.
lot of Suns Out, Guns Out.
I know.
Yep.
So let's just do this now
just do
because it's here. Yeah. So Nexomania loot chest, we talked about last week. Suns Out, Guns Out stuff. You have a chance of getting that stuff, which seemed understandable because the Nexomania, there's not a ton of stuff in this set, and there was a lot of stuff in the Suns Out, Guns Out. But oh my gosh, it's a Suns Out, Guns Out chest with
Pretty much.
a small chance of getting Nexomania stuff.
It's definitely how it feels.
Yeah, I haven't purchased any chests. I think I've probably opened between 10 and 15 chests. And I haven't gotten any skins, any mounts. I've gotten 3 animated sprays and maybe 3 portraits, but I've re-rolled at least twice on every single one of them to get that stuff. So
yeah.
I'm chewing through gold, and it's
I'm definitely would not mind a little bit of legendary protection.
Legendary protection, or just more waiting for the new ones.
That's what I had kind of hoped. That
Yeah.
since yes, I can completely understand. Like if there was another Suns Out Guns Out event this year, then
With new
they
stuff.
probably would have. Yeah, then they probably would have had this old stuff in too. So, regardless, they probably would have done it because limited time summer event, right? But at the same time, it's a Nexomania event, so I feel like there probably should be some weighting towards Nexomania stuff.
That's what you'd think, but it seems
And
like
it hasn't felt like that.
it seems like they just added it all together in one big pool, and it's the same chances for everything.
And if they did that, then there's so much more Suns Out, Guns Out, just material across the board that you're just odds are gonna get those, which has to be why it feels like it's a Suns Out, Guns Out chest.
Yeah, and at first I wasn't too worried about it, and this will tie into the bundles and stuff. We'll get to that here in a second. Because, well, actually, it makes sense I think about it because we have these specific chests. So I'll bring up the bundles here now. If you guys haven't seen yet, all the Next Mania stuff is split into 2 bundles, which makes sense. There's a lot of stuff there. And if you want to get both bundles, it's going to be like 70-ish bucks. Like I think one's, if you have the heroes, one is 3,700 something gems and the other's like 3,400 something. So it's a lot, and it's split up into ETC, Lunara, Sonia, and the Luchihuahua, and then Diablo, Garrosh, Karazim, and the Pignata. And that couldn't be a worse split for me personally.
Yeah.
Because I really want Garrosh and Diablo and the Chihuahua. Lunara, I do want the Lunara skin now because I've been playing her since her rework. I really like her. I don't play much Sonya, even though I like that skin. I play a lot of ETC, but I have no interest in that skin. And the Pignata is, okay. I'd rather have the Chihuahua. But I don't have $70 to spend, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do now. And initially, it's like, oh, well, I'll just, we talked buy one of the bundles that, I'd buy the Garrosh and Diablo bundle, and then I'll shard for the Chihuahua. But
See, I think because of the split, though, for me, honestly, like, to me, it makes more sense to buy the bundle nearer to the end of the event this time, just because, I kind of want to see how the dice roll first. I want to see if I get a few of the skins and tints that I want in one of the bundles, and that might sway my decision the other way, which is interesting because it's the exact opposite issue that I had from last year. So last year for the Suns Out, Guns Out event, I purchased the bundle right away. And you guys might remember at the time, I was even talking about how, like, although I felt like I had gotten everything that I wanted, except for, of course, Sexy Tychus, because I still don't have that and I still want it. So maybe Blizzard don't weight the Nexomania stuff too much in the bundles until in the chests until I get that. Okay, sounds good. Anyway, no. So last year my issue was that I had purchased it and I felt like I had gotten most of what I needed out of the event. And so I still played and unlocked some chests, but I wasn't really like pushing myself to get every last little tint and that sort of thing. I kind of have the opposite problem here, right? Where like, unless I splurged and bought both, which I definitely can't do right now, I really am taking the other approach of chests first, purchasing later, potentially, depending on how the chests shake out. And anyway, I don't know what to say about it other than that it's a totally different experience from last year's.
Yeah,
it's really interesting because I'm normally one who has a little bit of disposable income, and I usually end up getting the bundles right away. But these ones have come out pretty expensive. Like we're talking $35 per bundle. And that's not like over time either. Because here's an interesting fact. I actually went back because I was having a conversation with Bo Schwartz actually, and talking about when we started Heroes. So I was like, I wonder when I started Heroes. So I actually went to my Battle.net and went back through my transactions and found my very first Heroes purchase from April 30th of 2014.
Oh boy!
What did you buy? First, Nova.
Oh boy!
Nova was my first hero purchase. That. It was actually $9.99. Nova was my first hero purchase. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I actually went back and added up all the money I spent on heroes.
Ooh, don't do that.
And spoiler, it was a ton. But interestingly, it was very much weighted the first 2 years, or the first 2.5 ish years pre 2.0.
Pre 2.0, yeah.
I have not spent anywhere near as much money post 2.0. Part of this is because post 2.0 was very much geared toward the if you play a lot, then you get a lot. And so in a lot of ways, that actually helped me out because I do play a lot. So I've been able to get more stuff either through shards or through free chests. So that's definitely part of it. But then the other part of it is it's taken away my ability to get things individually, which I did a lot of pre 2.0. And so, and it's psychological, right? Because obviously I've spent a ton of money on getting things individually, but a lot of times it's much harder to get over the hump when it's $30 at the same time or $70 at the same time versus $5 here, $5 there, $5 here, $5 there. That adds up to that 30 or 70 over a little bit of time, but it's a little more palatable, I guess, right? And so the way 2.0 is right now, it really seems to me to take away a lot of my, and I mean my transaction log just proves it out. It's taken away a lot of my impulse buy that I used to have under the old system. And so this is, I love all the stuff in this event. All the skins are so incredible. The mounts are so amazing. Like they did such a good job, but because of the bundle pricing, I can't get over I need to drop $35 all at the same time to get half a set.
Yeah.
And some of it I don't necessarily want or won't necessarily use as much. And so I'm going to be going the multi route. And that's what I've almost been suggesting to people this time around is I'm going to wait until the last few days and try to get a bunch of these things out of my free hero chest to knock down this bundle price because I just can't justify it. So, I mean, it's one of those things. It's such a conundrum. It's just like, I want to give you money, but it's really hard for me to drop that chunk of money all at the same time.
Well, you made another really good point in there too, and it's that I don't think anyone, or at least I'm not sure, at least in my case, maybe you guys could speak to it. I don't have any experience just impulse buying chests, just outright getting in there, flat out buying like 25, 50 chests or anything crazy like that. Because to me, that's not something, yes, it's exciting that there's stuff in there that you can unlock, and there's a whole big event and a lot of things I want out of Nexomania. But I mean, making that decision for me would be a real measured like budgeting. Okay, is there a possibility to do this budget-wise? And then like really making like a measured approach to it, as opposed to, seeing something just incredible, like your first 2 years, TVK. You just see something you just needed, and then boom. You know?
Well, and I'm the same way. I have spent not near as much as I did pre 2.0, and I have not. I don't think I've bought any bundles of chests since 2.0 came out. But my initial thing I was getting to was I don't know why I didn't realize this, but until yesterday, I wasn't thinking about the fact that these skins are only here for a short time. I was assuming when I was trying to figure out, if I buy this bundle, I'll just shard this stuff, but it's 2,400, so I'll just wait 2 weeks till it goes to normal pricing. That's not going to happen because these skins are going away. Pretty sure. I would assume because it's an event and there's exclusive chests. If I remember correctly,
the Suns Out, Guns Out did not decrease to the normal shard price from like non-seasonal stuff.
It didn't.
And I don't think non-seasonal
stuff decreases. No. And I don't think this will either.
Yeah.
And
from a historical perspective, it won't.
So,
and we don't have a ton of time in Nexomania either. If I'm not mistaken, it ends on the 11th of June.
Yeah.
So it's a 3-week deal.
So that was another thing. And then the other thing, I'm pretty sure they did these bundles differently than they've been doing other event bundles. They split it into two because in the bundles, you are getting those hero skins, but you're getting all the tints. You're getting all 3 tints for each skin. When they did previous bundles, post 2.0, it's been, okay, you get all the skins in this bundle, but it's like one, maybe two tints of
I
each
do
skin,
kind
and
of
then
like
there's
that they give you
others
all
that
the
you can
tints,
buy.
though.
But it makes it like I don't want
Makes
all
it more
those tints,
expensive.
and it makes it more expensive, which means I can't. I'm having this dilemma of trying to figure out which one I'm going to buy, if any, because I can't
Yeah.
spend the $70.
As-
So this brought me to a point of wondering if they could do something like this. Like the first thing that popped into my head was, I really wish this was like a grocery store that had like I could go in and build my own 6-pack of beer. Like
Oh yeah,
like
those
you
are
know,
the best, by the way.
yeah. Like, here's this event. You know, the bundle's going to include the heroes. I already have those. No big deal. And then, you know, you have 6 slots to pick which skins you want and pick them out.
Even if I paid a little more to do that, like if you did the math and sat down and said, okay, my 6 items are worth, I'm paying for, as if I'm paying for 10 or something like that, right? When I actually do the math and calculate it out, I would do that just to be able to have the option.
Yeah. Because
Actually get what
Honestly,
I like.
like even if there was a compromise in there somewhere, even if they, just because this is a limited time event, even if they, because of the limited nature of it, put each hero in their own bundle with all 3 skins, that would be
yeah,
more tempting to me, because then even if I didn't want all the skin tints, at least I could get them separately, and
Right.
each one of those from a mind standpoint would be a much easier impulse buy,
yeah,
because it's just like, ooh, I'm getting something I want and it's $5 or it's $6 or whatever, boom,
Right.
buy. And you know, then I could actually acquire what I wanted to in a reasonable amount of time, still give Blizzard money, but not have to drop $30+ that I might not be able to drop all at once.
yeah. So it's a hard dilemma, and I'm pretty sad about it because. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and get some more chests and probably
Yep.
get Suns Out Guns Out stuff and use all my gold trying to get Next Mania stuff. But it's rough. It's rough.
And I'm trying to save my gold for heroes. But
Yeah.
you're right, I'm probably gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
Especially near the end, if I don't have that
It's a lot of
Luchihuahua.
leveling.
Oh yes.
Oh, I know. Like, it's like save all my shards so that I can get the puppy at the very end,
Yes.
just in case.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So good old Luchihuahua. Moving on here before we get to Diablo Lunara, interesting thing happened. Hanamura has been temporarily removed from custom games. Developer comment for this states development on Hanamura is still going smoothly. Unfortunately, it seems all of the noisy construction has irritated the Mega Enforcer, who has captured several of our designers and artists. We need to bring this.
Yes.
You only need one of those
I was
words.
gonna point that out. The take bring.
We need to,
No, they totally meant that.
yeah,
Yes.
take this battleground offline while we negotiate for their safe release.
They could have said either.
Yeah,
they could
they
have
could
said
have.
we need to take this battleground or we need to bring this battleground offline.
They wanted
But They
both.
said both, and I appreciate that.
Same.
This, I have 3 theories here. Theory 1. For some, Hanamura is close to done, the rework. And for some reason, to put new Hanamura in, they either had to take old Hanamura out, or they just didn't want people playing on it immediately to give a break, and we're going to get Hanamura soon. Theory 2. Mega Enforcer, who has captured several designers, is a different team, and Heroes team's lost some designers. I don't think that's the case. Or Theory 3, they've been working on a new map, and a new map is getting close to being done, and some people moved over to help finish that map up.
Ooh, that's a possibility. I didn't consider that one.
But if you think about it, number 1 is really the only reasonable explanation for
Yeah.
them to take a custom map that's already there out of the game.
I was
That is
just
true.
Yeah, I was just and that's what I'm thinking too. It's just the several designers and artists. I don't really know why they would mention that unless it was just trying to be like a joke with the Mega Enforcer thing. But
I think it was trying to be funny. Like,
But
I
also being a
feel,
hint
yeah,
that they're developing something
that's why I
related
developed
to
the
it.
other two theories. But I do think it's
that's,
theory one.
and that's the thing, right? We know they're making more maps.
Mm-hmm.
We only had well, technically we had 2 maps last year. We had 2 maps last year for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then we had 1 map last year. But we haven't had a map yet this year, and we're almost at the 6-month point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, we know they're coming. We know something else is coming. We know Hanamura is being worked on and has been worked on for a really long time. In fact, heck, I even forgot that you could actually select it.
I did
in
too.
Custom mode.
Yeah, right.
That's how long it's been since I've actually played Hanamura. But it does make me think that new Hanamura will be coming soon for them to take the original out of the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I recently, and by recently I mean like 30 minutes before the show, decided to take a look at my map win percentages. Hanamura, whopping 13.2% win rate.
Oh boy.
My next
just
lowest
needed to
is like
push harder.
49%. It's not good.
You just needed to not focus on the payloads at all and just push harder. Gizmo.
Yeah.
Solved. Actually, no, that was all the problems with it. The one thing I'm taking away from this, for the most part, though, is I really want to know who the Mega Enforcer is. Honestly, like, is it Captain Adab himself? Is it a new Nexus Lord that we don't know about yet? Like, I need to know more about this Mega Enforcer.
Is it Diablo 4,
it's the
whatever
large
that's called?
monster in the middle of Hanamura.
Rebirth? Is that what it was?
Oh, it is. That's the name of it.
Yeah, the Mega Enforcer.
Ah, good call.
Yep. But yeah, so maybe it's soon minus the TM now. Fingers crossed. Because I actually would like to see that back in the game. I'm excited to see the changes that they have. Moving on, hero updates. Lunablo, Lunaraba, Diablo, Lunara. I forgot the names we came up with.
Lunarablo is my favorite,
Lunarablo.
but, you know.
Those changes have hit, and I am excited for them. They seem to be hitting pretty hard, and people seem to be enjoying those changes. I've got a chance to play a couple of both. I've only played one Diablo, but I've played 3 or 4 Lunara games. So we'll start with Diablo here, and I know you've played some Diablo as well, TBK. What are your thoughts on the changes?
I really like it. Actually, he feels a lot more, I guess, engaging to play.
Yeah.
He seems to have multiple different builds that could very well be viable, just depending on either your play style or the situation that you're up against. I've been having a ton of fun with the Fire Stomp build. There's just so much flames everywhere. Lightning Breath is good again. Turns out that adding a slow to it is super, super helpful.
Yeah.
And is a
Have you
pretty
been taking
decent
it?
buff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been really, really fun. It's just a fun ult, honestly, too.
Oh, yeah,
and
it always was.
Looks great, but it just never was really that viable when compared to a potential full team stun wombo initiation. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. He does not play like he used to, at least to an extent. He doesn't play like he used to. You have to be a little more careful on your initiating because you don't have that armor going in that you automatically used to get with his initiate. But
He's more involved now, I would say,
yes,
because he doesn't have
he's
the
definitely
armor,
more involved now.
but he has regeneration, which he didn't have prior. Which, if you are
Yeah, some, but
good
yeah.
with, if you are good with, he has a crap ton of regeneration. I only played the one game so far. I didn't get a chance to try another build, but I did the fire build as well, and it was insane. Like, I felt unkillable at some points. There were points where I had like a couple hundred health, and I would still last like 10 seconds, mainly because it was against Chin, and we're just sitting there. He can't really hurt me, and I'm getting enough regeneration because I'm getting 3 flame stomps off, which are all healing me. So it's cool. I like how the flame stomp feels now. It took me a minute to get used to because initially it just goes off.
It's hard to aim.
Well, yeah,
because I wasn't expecting it because I have to remember, oh crap, I need to be facing in the direction that I want this thing to go now instead of just it's all around.
Well, I'm not a quick cast person. I'm quick cast on some abilities. And so before, Fire Stomp was just, it didn't matter anyways because you didn't have to aim it. That was automatically quick cast. But it wasn't now. So it took me, I was like, why isn't my Flame Stomp going off? Oh, I need to click before that goes off now.
So you'd have to reset that to make it
yes,
quick cast again. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess it may be an ability I want to see where the cone is going, though. I don't know. I'll have to feel that out. Because I'm like you. I do quick cast on release, but I set some abilities to quick cast just to, depending on how they feel and whether or not I truly think that extra 0.001 second that I use to target it first, that makes a huge difference. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but I'm excited to try a Q build because, like TBK said, there seems to be a few pretty viable builds right now that both have sustain and damage. The Fire Stomp seemed to be a lot more late game damage, where it's pretty slow to begin with. And from what I've heard, haven't tested yet, the Q build is more early game damage, and then you kind of fall off at post 13. So
and then there's
can
an
you do
auto
a mix
attack
of
build.
the two?
Yeah, and then there's auto.
How are these builds mixing though? That's my question.
You like a hybrid build of the two?
Yeah. I mean, is
I don't
there
think
a path you could take that hybrids between the two?
really
I've heard of a hybrid auto attack Fire Stomp build, which is basically because the auto attack build is kind of like more regeneration too. He's pretty much all about regeneration now, as opposed to armor, which he used to be.
Yeah, the like the Fire Stomp one though, I don't know how I don't think you could split the Q and Fire Stomp up because you're directly like the same talent tiers picking if Fire Stomp's going to heal you, the charge is going to heal you, and then more spell power if you hit people with your fire, which means more healing, and then more charges. It's weird, but I really like it. He seems really cool. And then Lunara, I was awful my first game with her, and then I figured out how to play her, and she seems pretty cool. Have you tried her out as well, TBK?
I have.
Cool. What build were you
I
going?
love the wisp changes.
Yes.
It feels so much better.
I love them.
It really does.
I love them so much. I completely forgot to use it in my first game with her.
Oh, really?
But game 2, I got used to it again.
That's good.
The really cool thing is that you do have a wisp talent. Is at level 1 now, and it's either that or other stuff, and it's in some ways situation specific, but a lot of people underestimate how important vision is in general, and so having that for certain maps especially is absolutely incredible. But just the general new version of it, it's nice and quick. It grants vision, and then it grants more vision if it sits in a bush for a few seconds. She's got a few cool new build paths, which is really cool. Her changes were much more subtle than Diablo's were, but it adds up to feeling like really good changes.
Yeah. I haven't tried Sentinel Wisp at 1 yet. I've been going Hippity Hop, which holy crap, she's fast now. Like that makes her really fast.
Oh, you can kite people around so easily with
That's an
that.
interesting talent tier now because, like, yeah, there's a lot of advantage to having the movement speed, but vision's super important too. Like, I don't know which one I would take right now. I guess it kind of depend on the map a little bit, but
yeah, I'm more. I think I'll probably end up going Hippity Hop most of the time unless something happens to change my mind. Because Sentinel Wisp, yeah, it's 200%, but without it, costing any mana, anything like that, you're casting it off cooldown now. It moves fast. It still gets increased vision if it sits in a bush for 2 seconds. So a lot of times it's not going to be something that sits there for a super long time anyways.
And you
it
could just
dies
move it
really
out
easy.
a little bit if you needed the extra.
Yeah.
Even if it dies to something, you'd see where the team is or something. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah,
I just wanted to comment on one thing about her. So now at level 7, choking pollen is the talent. I really wish that she would stop spamming that on my face because again, guys, my allergies are killing me these days.
fair enough.
Totally killing me. Anyway,
Yeah, I've been having a blast with her. I don't remember which talent it is. Where it makes you cast a Q and her next attack can spread to 4 enemies. Awesome, super awesome. Her Q build's pretty much
Sounds
what I've
good.
been going, and it just melts faces late game. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially if you take the poison damage increases
yeah.
as well.
But yeah, these, I know I mentioned it last week, but after getting my hands on both of them, I think really not only has it been a super long time since we've talked about them, but they, play styles, builds have shifted, and I think they would both be good to potentially do Hero of the Week on.
At least Diablo. We could
Coming
maybe
up.
even
Yeah.
squeeze it in next week, and if it's a slow enough week, I suppose.
Yeah,
Which you never
potentially.
know.
Never
Might
know.
not be.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else have any last thoughts on Diablo, Lunara, Nexomania Week 1?
It's all pretty awesome.
It is. I will say, I talked
Need to
down.
get that announcer.
I talked
Oh, yeah.
down on the Diablo skin last week. I didn't see it like actual in game. Up close, it looks amazing. It's the sequins or whatever on it. The glitter is super cool. He has hair, which I didn't realize for a really long time, and I actually can't think of what he has. What does he have in place of the hair on his regular skin? Is it just like a row of spikes going down his back? Is he bald?
So?
I think so. It's Diablo. It's spikes.
Yeah, it's got,
Yeah, right.
gotta be spikes.
It's got to be spikes.
But that skin is super cool, which is making the whole which bundle do I want thing a lot harder. But I think my favorite skin is the glow in the dark Karazim skeleton thing because it's weird.
All those ones are incredible.
So cool. The Diablo's my favorite of those, but they're all cool.
I think I like the Lunara one best of those.
Okay. We gotta stop talking about that because we're those are 2 different bundles, guys. We can't keep saying how
Yes.
cool they are because I can't get them all. Darn you, Blizzard. But yeah, so we'll update on our bundle and chest situation next week. TBK, let's go ahead and hop into the HGC. Take it away.
So not a whole ton to talk about. Just kind of some notes, really. The Heroes Esports site did actually release what they termed Phase 2 patch notes. And that is just around the corner right after the midseason brawl. So they decided to reveal some stuff on the clashes first off. For the very first time, the Phase 2 Western Clash will actually be held in North America.
Yep.
In Burbank, California, actually. And seeing as it's in Burbank, that means it's probably going to be at the Blizzard Arena.
Yeah.
Odds are.
So, hey, North American fans, you will finally have a Clash that you will be able to go to. And that is really, really cool. I wish I could do it, but it's pretty expensive to go out to California.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Right.
Yeah,
And you're
turns
doing
out-
it again near the end of the year, so
Yep, it's true because
Where-
this is August 10th. And so like just a few months later is BlizzCon. And that's where all my current money is being saved up for right now.
Yeah.
Also, the Eastern Clash will take place on August 17th, and it will be in Korea. No further specification of location, but it will be in Korea.
Where
They will.
where was second phase midseason brawl North or Western Clash? I just said that in a really weird order. Where was
You
the
definitely did.
Western Clash for the second phase last year? Because I could only think of phase 1, which was in Katowice.
It was in Europe somewhere. I'm pretty sure,
I have to look it
but
up.
I don't. Yeah, if someone wants to look it up, I definitely don't remember that one off the top of my head. Also, for phase 2 of 2018, there will be some rules changes. Rules around rest breaks between matches have been added to keep downtime between games to a minimum. Thumbs up right there.
Yep.
Looking forward to seeing the fruits of those labors. There will no longer be seeding matches included in HGC playoffs, such as the one that recently took place between Tempest and Ballistics. And then finally, the end of year roster release date has been moved to 1 week after the HGC finals, so that they're not releasing people before the HGC finals, I guess.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess.
and and also remember that you can grab opening week tickets as well for the BlizzCon playoffs that are happening the week before BlizzCon and will take place at the Burbank arena. I believe the tickets are like $30 a day.
$30
for the
a
day
day.
pass.
Or $50 if you want a backstage tour.
Ooh, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Like if you're around there, it's probably worth it.
If
Because
you've already sunk the 30, 50 is just another 20. It's not terrible. I'd consider it.
Yeah. It's a really, really cool stage. It's a really, really cool studio. So I'd recommend it. It's a neat place. Also, I wanted to address something that was a Reddit topic a few days ago, but something that I've been wanting to talk about a little bit, and that's the amount of time the drafting phase is. And so right now, sometimes the drafting phase of Heroes seems like it can take longer than some games go, but it is incredibly long to sit through and watch the drafting right now. And depending on what they do with the third ban, that could potentially increase even more. And so I wanted to just kind of have a little mini discussion on some of the things they could maybe do to tighten this up. The biggest one, and this was actually the top comment by JX Snake of this Reddit thread, is he says, what if they did the ban timer like chess rules and give you something like a total of 90 seconds to use for all 3 bans? That way it's 30 seconds per ban, but you can take longer to talk about one over the other. For example, you can take 10 seconds for the first ban and it gives you 80 seconds for the last 2 bans. And this is actually the way that way back in the day, before we had drafting in game, we had to use websites. And one of those websites was a site called Heroes Draft. And Heroes Draft actually worked like that, where you had a pooled amount of time to do your draft, and that counted towards the entirety of your draft and ban phase. And so, honestly, I would be totally up for this to see actually in-game switch to a pool system instead of a like 45 seconds per ban or whatever.
I honestly, I really like this. I would be okay if they did it to where each team has a set pool for everything. That way,
one pool, and you could just kind of drag out one decision.
One pool for picks, one pool
like
for bans.
You have
or one pool for picks and bans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just
Sorry,
so
that's what I meant. Sorry.
That'd be the easiest to communicate too.
Well,
like if people just understood that there is one pool, then it would be just easier to figure out than like a split one or something. So yeah,
and I think the main argument against that would be, well, there's going to be some situations in drafts that you're going to have to pivot on your strategy and you're going to need more time for that. But that's kind of adds excitement, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the hard thing too is when people do drafts, like in Team League and Hero League, if you have someone just sitting and wasting the entire pool,
this wouldn't work
by
for
being
Hero League.
AFK
That's
or
true,
something like that, then that wouldn't work.
That doesn't work for Hero League. Yeah.
But
unless
I'm
they do what
completely
they
okay
should
with
do
switching
anyways.
to a pool for bands.
They need to do this for Hero League anyways. Queue pops, you hit ready to
That's
let people
definitely
know,
something we need.
oh,
Yeah.
you're there.
Even then, though, people get in there and see, oh, I'm the fourth guy down. I can go use the restroom, and then they remember they had Taco Bell that day, and they don't get back in time. So, I mean, yeah, there's still issues with there. What they could do, and I mean, I hate to see a split between what the HGC does and what we see in our competitive mode. But here's a spot where I would kind of be okay with it. If there was a pool in HGC, but the rest of us kind of kept the same system, at least for now, at least to experiment to see what the pool system would be like in the HGC, I'd be all for it. Because I'm with you guys, the drafting phase can take a while, and I often find myself just skipping it on a VOD, and then I miss out. So, like, case in point, I actually for Heroes of the Dorm, the Cal Poly and Buffalo game 4, the one where it was the Cho'Gall and the Abathur, I had skipped the band and draft phase, and I think that would have been incredible to watch, to see like the reaction of the analyst desk and everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to.
Well, and it's made it for me to where it discourages me from even watching as much HGC live as I used to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It just
'cause
takes
it's a huge chunk of the
it takes
time.
so much time up of the day. It's so much easier to just go back and watch the VODs now to skip that. Which I
Or you
think
like
affects a lot of
watch it,
people.
but you're not really watching the band. Like you're listening to the commentary and peeking at it, and then just multitasking it with something, which can be okay. But
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this
I agree with you, multi though. I think splitting the HGC with slightly different rules than what the normal game uses would be okay in this context.
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. So hopefully something happens on top of whatever the rest period between games is now, changes that they've made. Will get things going a little faster.
Because I don't actually think they've announced how the third ban is going to work yet.
Yeah.
Other than it's going to be at the top. They haven't actually said if it's going to have its own pool time, if the pool time is going to be increased for that particular ban, or what.
Yeah.
Or if they're
Yeah,
just
that's a
going to
good point.
share.
And I'd imagine that's going to happen. But don't they usually have some sort of pro summit before the next phase starts?
They usually have.
Yeah. So because they've mentioned before, I mean, they've already said that they're going to be having meetings with the pro players to discuss how the third ban and stuff is going to work, because it's not going to be live at the start of phase 2, but it will be implemented in the middle. So they want them to know how it works. So I imagine we'll be
and they'd
finding
want
that
their
stuff out in the
input
next
on
couple
that,
weeks.
because I
Yeah.
mean, the draft is not the entire game, but it can be a fairly big chunk of how the game turns out, and there's a lot of strategy to it. So I'm sure they had conversations about the length of the bands and whether like the new band shares a pool with the other one, or if they both have like 75% less time to make up for it. I mean, who knows?
Yep.
Mhm.
So exciting stuff there. And I know we haven't talked roster changes yet. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So that'll be happening once things settle down, because
Waiting for the close.
it is
Waiting for the close before we
Weird
dive
right now.
into that fun.
good old esports stuff happening. So someday. But happy thoughts, TBK community content. What do you got for us this week?
I do have some happy thoughts. There's some really fun stuff. First off, Fight Night, a 3v3 tournament of HGC pros and community streamers for charity. Just in time for Nexomania is Fight Night in Heroes of the Storm. This is an event that I believe JHow is putting together. It's going to happen May 26th, 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern time, and it's going to benefit St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. It will be best of threes in 4 teams single elimination, but the ultimate prize, of course, will go to St. Jude's. And there is a link that will be active from May 19th through May 27th to donate. If you would like to, we will have, of course, the full link to all this in the show notes. But Prismat Crowan, Lutano, Hosty, Tomster, Cure, Collusion, and McIntyre will be participating as the HGC players with Tim from Heroes of Fitness, Marsh, Alicia Wins, and another community streamer to be announced with Jay Howe and Haloran casting these games. So that should be super fun to watch because as a lot of our listeners know, and we haven't done this in a while, we've run a lot of 2v2 tournaments, and those are super, super fun to watch. So I would assume 3v3 will be pretty interesting too.
Oh, they're going to take different talents you're not expecting, and the comps are going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Tim, buddy, though, Heroes of Fitness. Good luck. Good luck to you, man. You got this.
I will say, I like some of the rules they have here. So they're going to be going to the keep, kind of like we did in Lords of the Lane to reduce game times. But the big rule I like here is teams may not pick a hero they had last game unless unavoidable.
I like that.
That's something we could incorporate when we bring it back.
That's true. I really like that a lot.
I'm not sure how it would be unavoidable because there's only 6 hero, well, 3. I mean, there's like 65 other, 70 other heroes to not play. But they're doing things to where, like, if you support gets banned out and there's no support for whatever reason, they can re-elect to redraft and stuff. So I don't know, but it should be really interesting. I'm excited.
Did they leave Mule in? I guess
no.
They
Mule's
did.
out.
No. Okay.
Yeah, Mule's out.
Is Abathur the only
fun for these kind of things?
No.
Is Abathur the only remaining hero with Mule now?
I'm pretty sure he is.
Wow.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, they've really done a clean sweep of a lot of those old talents.
Yeah,
which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is good.
It'll be cool to see Jay Howloren casting.
There you go. I like it.
That's all I got.
It beats Halau, so that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's true. That is the better combination. Secondly, from Twitter user Amanda Diaz, it appears she has drawn literally one of the best skins that could ever go into the game.
I think the best skin.
It is a skin called Frostworm Brightwing. And it looks incredible. And Blizzard, please, I need this now.
So this is basically Syndragosa, the Frostworm that Arthas has. It's one of the ultimates in this game. It's in the, the cinematic, of course, for Wrath of the Lich King. You guys have seen it. Undead dragon, leathery, just torn up wings that are made of bone as well, but Brightwing. And she even took the time to lay out what some of the abilities would look like. And I think if Blizzard takes nothing away from this, which they should take all of the things away from this because this is the best skin we've seen in some time. If nothing else, there's got to be a Brightwing skin where the what you turn people into with polymorph changes. In this case, she's got one of the little blood worms, which makes sense with the kind of like Wrath of the Lich King theme. There's a lot of those type of worms and Nerubians and such in that time period of the game and that sort of thing. So anyway, super cool. When I saw this, I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want it.
Mm-hmm.
And people are right commenting on this. We would be seeing much more Brightwing in the game.
It's true.
I still play it.
Queue for Brightwing literally for that skin.
Yep.
It'd be an absolutely amazing skin. Also, Blizzard, please give me my little KT.
Just I want it.
We have little Rag. We might as well get little KT.
Yeah, that just makes sense, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I have this problem where at my job, the letters KT means knowledge transfer, which I always thought was cheesy as heck anyway. But now, anytime you say, I need a little KT, I'm sitting here going, on what? What do you want me to teach you?
What do you want me to tell you?
I'm a corporate shill now.
Yes. And finally, after a lot of hard work and thought and development, I actually released my Arathi Basin map concept today.
Oh yeah.
And I am super proud of this one. The full article is on Heroes Hearth. I'll just give a quick rundown. But it's like I won a Warcraft map in game or something.
No, you've only done a guide for both of those.
Yeah, Aldrich Valley, Arathi, What's next?
Eye of the Storm?
Ha!
Jinx. As long as you can push people off the center bridge there, I'm okay with it.
I know, like there'd have to be some new mechanics in there or something because Heroes doesn't have height. But for this one, I actually even wrote lore. I wrote lore for this one. A new realm is born. With a crack and a spark of power, the world of Arathi Basin crashes into existence, and with it, those who look to claim dominance over this untouched plane. The Harvest Lord and the Constructor rush to establish a base of power in the basin, and have recruited their own champions to lend them aid.
I have
You
one
know what's
question.
funny about that, though?
Question about your lore.
Go ahead.
How is it untouched if there's already a smithy, a lumber mill?
Because it comes into existence. Like it just comes into existence. Because so from my standpoint, with like all these Nexus worlds and stuff, like they pull from other things. I mean, we've seen that with Diablo and StarCraft, right? Mm-hmm. And so it just pulled from the existence of Arathi Basin and just pulled that section, and that's
So in the Nexus, it's untouched.
Yeah, and the Nexus is untouched.
It's like Dalaran now in Warcraft, where it's just this crater in the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah. Checks
out. But in World of Warcraft, it's very much touched by massive amounts of Alliance and Horde battling for it constantly.
That are just sitting on the flags and not calling out inks. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yep,
I do want to say, though, so about your lore here as well. I'm impressed from a lore perspective. It may be more lore than we know about the Nexus in general so far.
It's true. We don't know a whole lot.
So there you go.
Besides
I just
that,
wanted to do a little shots fired there. Anyway.
Kane has a bay. That's all we've learned.
It's true.
Yes.
But this map would be a 2-lane map. And it would be a capture point map. So I've actually been able to integrate all 5 of the original points. And the gist of the map is basically these resource points, which are the 5 main things: the farm, the lumber mill, the mine, the blacksmith, and the stables, will activate at certain points in the game, and they will have a certain amount of resources in them. And basically, like Volskaya, your team will go and capture the point, and as you capture it, you will drain resources out of the point and into your own coffers. Because since this is a brand new realm, your cores are not even constructed at the start of the game. This is a very Towers of Doom-like map in where you won't actually attack the core directly, but instead you will be building the core throughout the course of the game. And the cool thing about these resource points is that both teams have the ability to capture a portion of them depending on how long you stay on the point, if you can push the enemy team off and such. And once the resources deplete, the point goes inactive. And then shortly thereafter, another point will spawn. The blacksmith will always be the first one to spawn, and then it becomes random after that. But each point has to spawn before the cycle can start over again. There's also only 4 towers, 2 towers on each side. And these towers actually, I wanted to kind of get the feeling of, capturing the flag and that slow trickle of resources. So as long as you have your 2 towers up, each tower generates a slow trickle of resources, which you can then stop by destroying it. Once you destroy a tower, the minions of the Constructor or the Harvest Lord will come back and begin to rebuild the towers over a period of time. But it's a way to hurt your enemy as you're trying to finish the rest of the game. And basically, and there's more to it, but basically it will come down to who gets the maximum needed resource first, finishes their core, and then that Nexus Realm Lord will use the new core to fire shots at the enemy core and destroy it, kicking the other Nexus Lord off their land that they have
Yeah.
now claimed.
I like that you have a rotating like cycle of these different points popping up too, because I think one of the problems with Wrathy Basin always was, in my mind, like you can't just have it be a 1-for-1 with the World of Warcraft map, because yeah, I mean, if you had all 5 points active at all times, it would just be a map of 5 1 versus 1s happening all the time.
It'd
And
be
I
a
think
Hanamura situation.
yeah. So it'd be just too much going on at once. So yeah, to have them stagger out, also it kind of solves the other problem where, so I was thinking about that and I was like, well, you could fight over maybe 3 points. So maybe you could build a map version that's just like lumber mill, blacksmith mines. But then you're missing out on the farm and stables, and it doesn't have that Wrathy Basin flavor to it, the full feel of the map, or at least as close to it as we can. So yeah, I think I'm with you there. Having a rotating set. Now, would it always be a fixed rotation? Do you say that in there as well, or is there some chance for
No,
randomization
it's actually it's actually random. So
Okay.
the blacksmith will always activate first.
Sure.
It's the middle point. Everyone will know, and like all the other new objectives, you'll get the 30-second warning before a point activates. But once the blacksmith activates, the next 4 activations from the other 4 locations will be random. But it won't start the cycle back again until all 5 have initially spawned. And so you will always get all 5 spawning before they will spawn again.
Okay.
So you will actually be able to predict then what the 5th one is based on which ones have already spawned already.
And have like a 50-50 shot on the 4th one and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of
Exactly.
interesting there. And I mean, I'm glad you're starting with the blacksmith, because this is Heroes of the Storm. Everyone's gonna just run to the mid and fight anyway to start the game.
I mean,
So-
it's just like classic Heroes, classic Arathi. I mean, a few people run to the lumber mill, a few people run to the farm or the stable, but the majority of the people are running to the blacksmith.
Well, and then they spend the rest of the match just fighting in the roads, which you should not do either.
Yep. Yep.
My one question here is, what is the non-objective phases like, and what's like the catch-up mechanics? So, like for Towers of Doom, this would be most relatable. If you're behind, you still have 1, 2, 3 merc camps you can get, and then 3 lanes to soak. With this, you have 1 merc camp on each side. Are there still minion waves that you can soak?
Yes, there's still minion waves.
But only what do the mercs
There's
do?
only So the mercs are 3 archers, and after you kill them, they drop a defense token. The defense token you can then use on an active resource point to spawn archers around the resource point to help fight for you. And you can only have 1 set of those at a time. So if somebody throws theirs down, you have to kill the 3 archers before you could throw yours down, or whatever. From a catch-up mechanic perspective, part of that is the not all or nothing. It's not like you capture the point and then boom, you automatically get all the resources. You can poke the other team off. You can grab parts of the resources. And I think that Volskaya has really proved this out well, just in the back and forth percentages that people will get for the protector itself. And so kind of taking that knowledge, it's like, oh, okay, that's really proved out that it's not going to normally be super one-sided, and one person's always going to get 100%. And even if, say, someone's dead and you can't fight particularly well on the currently active resource point, you can still push their towers to destroy them and cripple that continuous resource stream that each of the towers would give them.
Okay.
Or soak your 2 lanes.
Right.
Very cool. I can dig it.
I like it.
I just want a Warcraft map.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so which map would you rather have in? Your Arathi Basin or Alterac Valley?
Ooh. Gosh, that's
I know
tough.
my answer.
Uh, I think Arathi, because Arathi Towers of Doom is one of my favorite maps, and Arathi kind of follows in the vein of Towers of Doom, and it's very team fight centric, because there's not going to be a ton of downtime between resource point activations. There will be some for soaking and for trying to push towers and whatnot. But one of the funnest things in Heroes is the team fighting. And so this map, kind of like Towers, would give you a decent amount of team fighting. So I would almost say Arathi. Alterac is probably more like macro map control strategic than Arathi would be, because all the forts and all the keeps in my version of Alterac Valley are extremely important for being able to kill the core at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So, Blizzard, World of Warcraft map, please. Preferably Alterac Valley or Arathi Basin.
I do
Please.
feel like they're getting that message across the board, at least.
Has
This-
anyone
this
told them that
reinforces it for
before?
sure,
I don't
but-
know. I don't.
What?
Maybe they're just like, whoa, no one's ever asked for a World of Warcraft map. That's crazy. We had no idea you guys
Really?
wanted one.
They didn't mention it at the PAX panel or anything.
Yeah. It's like,
I don't think any of
why
them could
didn't
say
you
that with a
guys
straight
just
face.
say so? Gosh. Well,
I still contend that our best chance of it is going to be a crossover event with Battle for Azeroth, and we'll probably get some sort of Warcraft event, maybe a Warcraft map or two, and then some Warcraft heroes, and probably some Battle for Azeroth add-ons or something when that comes out.
that's when Anduin's coming out.
I would be okay with that. Like, and we didn't really talk about this up top during the patch notes, but we don't know who the next hero is.
Yeah.
This has been another one of those like in between cycles where we get this big rework patch drop plus the event, but then it's probably still going to be a few more weeks until the new hero comes out.
Yeah. Which,
So it's possible they're starting to do this like stagger thing where we have like hero, event and reworks, hero, event and reworks, hero, event and reworks. And that might be the way they start staggering the hero releases a little bit.
yeah. How many weeks has Kane been live now? 3?
Oh no.
4?
He was I think this is 4.
So this is, unless we get an announcement this Friday, officially the longest we have ever
Yeah,
had.
because Phoenix was 5.
Yeah. No, Kane was
Yeah,
5.
Phoenix-
Or was Kane 6? I don't
No,
know. It was
Kane
5 or
came
6.
after Phoenix pretty quick, if I remember correctly. Phoenix was the slower one.
Yeah, that's right. So it'll be interesting.
So yeah, it's possible that this might be their new cadence,
Yeah,
and that'll be interesting to kind of track over the next few months to see if it is like a hero rework event, hero rework event type thing. Because I mean, I think I could be okay with that, especially with usually the scope of their reworks, as long as it's more than one rework. Because I think just one rework in an event between like hero releases would be, or at least it would feel really long in between.
yeah.
But who do you think? Who do you think is coming? I don't think we have any hints
No,
right now,
yeah.
unless they keep with this event theme and we get like Sombra or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people were thinking that. I maybe another Diablo Lord. But going with the pacing, it's interesting because it's been 4 weeks now. Today was literally the first day I thought about, wow, we still haven't had a hero announcement, which is good because we've had the reworks and the event, which I don't think they'll do events like this in between each time. So I don't think it's going to be,
Probably not.
you know, we could still, say it's 6 weeks for between Kane and this new hero. Maybe we don't have another event, but maybe it goes to 5 weeks with a couple reworks in between, or back to 4 weeks, and then the one after 4 weeks is back up to 5 or 6 weeks. Who knows? But the balancing and
interesting to
pacing
watch.
between this one has been good. So, But yeah,
Yeah.
I would guess a Diablo character, but I'm not sure.
I think Diablo character. Um, hmm. You know, it has been a while since we've had a Warcraft character.
It has.
Because we had that huge rash of Warcraft characters, but that was almost really a long time ago.
What
I
was the
think
last
they
Warcraft
will be
character?
saving that.
Was it Valera?
Uh,
Really? That seems like
Valera
so
the
long
last
ago.
one?
Let me pull up a list here. Or chat help
Garrosh.
us out too.
Garrosh? Was Garrosh before?
maybe. Maybe, yeah, probably Garrosh.
I think it was Garrosh.
Probably Garrosh.
But
Yeah.
I think they'd be
That was still a
saving
little while ago.
if they do a Battle for Azeroth event, a tie-in event. I think they'd be saving him for that, because that's only like 8 weeks away. Wait,
Yeah, August,
12.
like mid-August.
yeah, so like 10 to 12 weeks away.
No, the last one was Maiev.
Oh
February
yeah,
6th.
Oh, that's true. Okay, that's true.
yeah.
Which isn't
So it hasn't
bad.
been too long. It hasn't been too long. I would like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing another Diablo character next.
I think it'd be cool.
Even though we just had Kane, something.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And I hate saying this because I have very mixed feelings on the Overwatch characters, but I would love Reinhardt.
I hate saying this.
I would absolutely love Reinhardt because they're actually. I think we were talking about this the other night. There isn't a legitimate Overwatch tank yet.
Because they're actually
Yeah.
There's Zarya, but
Zarya,
she's not
yeah.
a main tank.
isn't a legitimate Overwatch
Good point.
tank.
Yeah, that could be interesting. I mean, Reinhardt fits the bill for sure. You could do some really interesting stuff with Orisa too, probably.
See, that's what I thought, because I was
Oh,
aboard
she'd
the
be a
Reinhardt
main
train
tank.
for a really long time.
Because she's ranged
You could do some
still.
really interesting stuff. But you could find a way to main
what I
tank.
thought.
I don't know.
I think
in
with
either
her
case, they
kit-
have to solve the problem of what are you going to do with these shields. But you could find
Yeah.
a way to main tank. I don't know.
I think
in
with
either
her
case,
kit-
they have to solve the problem of what
I
are you
think
gonna
you
do
might
with
be able to
these
make hers work as a main tank, her kit with how she plays, but Reinhardt would be he's the poster
I just
child
feel like
for
he
a
can
tank,
make it.
Overwatch tank. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
Reinhardt
I think his
would be-
kit would translate super well,
child for a
and you
tank
could have
of
some
Overwatch.
really
Yeah.
sweet mechanics
I
with
think
his
kit
shield.
would translate super,
Agreed.
super well. And you could have
All
some
right.
really
Well,
sweet
we do
mechanics
have
with
a
his shield.
question here. We will go ahead and move on into that.
And you could have
All right, Multi, we have an email from Kadzin. Take it away.
That we do. So Kadzin writes, "Hello there, Zord Lords. I wanted to bring back the topic of perception that was mentioned in the Reddit AMA last week by the devs. I can certainly understand where the devs are coming from with the data they have and how they often have to decide if they want to balance based on perception or not. But I have a counterpoint. Why don't they share that kind of data with us? If the players had access to accurate information like win rates instead of relying on something like HOTS logs, then the problem of perception would decrease significantly. Blizzard is yet to release an API for HOTS, and I feel like a lot of the problems stem from the lack of transparency that comes from it. What do you guys think? Keep up the great work. Regards, Kadzin." So first of all, I mean, just my gut reaction to this is that, oh yeah, I mean, that would solve some of the problems for sure. I will say, not everyone's going to take the time to dig into the stats, as perhaps you and I might, or the three of us as well, for sure. So there'd still be a little bit of perception issue, but I mean, it would be easier for Blizzard to point out that, okay, yeah, you guys are feeling that Hanzo's OP right now, but here's the win rate. It's really like 48 and blah, blah, blah. And we could just see that, and that could help drive the conversation instead of them having to turn to essentially an AMA to give us a lot of these stats. Because clearly, one other point is, since we got a lot of raw stats in that AMA, it's clear that Blizzard's cool with sharing the stats with us. I mean, I would have said for a time that they were a little hesitant to give us the actual raw numbers of how everything was shaken out. But again, as we were going through that AMA last week, there were a lot of raw numbers in there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if we even necessarily need the full API to do this. I don't know if there'd be a way that they could just release maybe a spreadsheet or a portion of the website that could do it there as well. And obviously, the complete API is the dream for sure. But I think there could be other ways to explore that too. And I definitely think you're onto something there. We could have them control the conversation a bit by sharing more and being even more transparent than we already gave them credit for in the AMA. But what do you guys think about all this?
I don't think Blizzard wants to release an unfinished API to the public. I think they're kind of testing for that is what they're doing on their Heroes Esports website right now. But something if you had somebody that was just to kind of balance the perception thing that was posting these stats, that would be a full-time job in itself. Just going to Twitter, Reddit, wherever, and looking for these threads and being like, all right, let me find this stat. All right, bam, there's that stat. It's fixed. And we also learned from the AMA, Hotslogs really isn't that far off. It's not exact, but it gives us a good idea. And the example they were using in the whole perception thing was Genji. Genji's win rate on Hotslogs is under 50%. So we can already, it's like 47, 48, I think last time I checked. It may have gone up or down. I haven't checked in a while. But so we have, it's not exact, but it's close enough. And we can see that, and people are still, Genji needs to be nerfed. So it's kind of right there in front of us if we want to look for it. It's just, I don't know. I think when people are feeling oppressed from a hero, it doesn't really matter what the stats are. It's just this hero needs nerfs. So
that's something they actually touched on in the AMA. That if a hero feels bad to play against, it doesn't necessarily even matter what the win rate is. Because of the perception of the community, they usually will take action on that. And then that hero is a good candidate for a rework or tweaking of some kind to make them feel less oppressive. I mean, they mentioned Chromie several times as someone who's really getting looked at because she just doesn't feel that good to play against, and she's very much an all or nothing. Like if you're in her face, she's dead, and otherwise you're just getting hit, chunked for massive amounts of your health, partially off the screen.
So that's a good point. So really, going back to this question, the problem of perception would be decreased significantly. So that's a good point. This whole perception thing isn't necessarily a problem. It's just them having to tackle, nerfs and balances in different ways. It's not direct number nerfs or balances. It's just them listening to feedback and going about it in a different way. So I'm not sure it's really a problem. It's just them listening.
That's a good point, pointing out that it's not necessarily a problem, because sometimes that kind of feedback, just your general perception, is something they can take action on as well. I mean, even something as simple as, oh, the kit's really good, but it just doesn't feel like the character. I'm a huge Probius fan, and I love Protoss, but I hate that I can only make one cannon instead of a whole army of carriers or blah blah blah. Sometimes that kind of feedback's really useful as well. And I that was a great example for me to use, because that's kind of how I still feel about Probius.
I played Probius today.
What?
I played Probius today.
Did you?
Got a chest for it. Yep.
Worth it. Did you win, though?
I did.
Okay.
So my Probius win rate's still up there. Bam. So it's an interesting thing, and I'm again releasing an API for just those statistics. I don't think would solve the issue. So it's an interesting thing, and I don't think they're gonna.
Not completely.
Yeah, and I don't think they're gonna do a partial API release. But just think about it. When the day comes where we actually get the API, things are going to be so awesome. Like, just to have these websites where we can go to and get stats like out the wazoo. What stat do you want? Here it is. Bam. Like, it's incredible.
And one of the things to keep in mind too, and this was kind of brought up to me a little bit because Heroes is celebrating its third anniversary. Its third anniversary of release, June 2nd, which is also the Heroes Charity Brawl. So, woo!
Coincidence?
Third anniversary of release. Very much
Was
so.
that? Okay. Actually, kind of. I don't remember that coming up in any of the meetings, so that probably is.
But a lot of people will compare features of game clients and such, like League of Legends or Dota or whatever. Yes. A lot of those other games do have, in some ways, many more features from a client perspective, but they're also double or more the age of Heroes. I mean, we may be looking back in 3 years when Heroes is 6 or when Heroes is 7, and most of these features that people say are in this client or that client already will probably be in Heroes by that time. It just takes a lot of time for things to happen sometimes, especially when you don't necessarily have an engine tailored to exactly what you want. Like League or like Dota had the ability to create. But if you remember, for anybody who did play League back in the day, the old League client sucked. Like, it was terrible. It was terrible for a super long time. And then they revamped it, and they've added features over time, and there's a lot more it can do. I'm just saying that when Heroes is as old as some of those other games, it's going to look a lot different. Heck, it looks way different than it did 3 years ago on release.
Easy.
And so those improvements will keep adding up. It's just going to take time.
Good points there. Well, I think that is going to do it for the meat and taters of this show. Before we get out of here, though, why don't you tell these fine folks where we can be found, Multi?
Just don't talk about taters, because now I'm hungry again. It's getting late. Anyway, you can find us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon at Lords of the Storm for each of those. And for those of you considering on the Patreon, thank you guys for even considering it. But it means a lot to anyone who's given any amount ever, and you don't have to, by all means. But you can find us in-game as well by typing /join space LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which is, it's at the top of our Twitter, but it's also bit.ly/lotsdiscord. And you can email us feedback or questions, lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And thank you guys for posting reviews. I know we had a couple last time. I could check on there here in a second, but any kind of review, preferably positive ones, but iTunes, whatever, is a huge help. Like I don't want to waste a lot of time stressing how much help, but it is a huge help. So thank you.
That it is. You can also find us individually, myself on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those things at Gizmozord, as well as on Convert to Raid Presents the BattleNet News, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Central. Multi, where can you be found?
I can be found on Twitter at Multizord, and also on another show called Hearth Casual with Ro from Realm Maintenance, also known as Brian. And so this is an off week for us. It's in between typically. So I want to plug a couple quick things for you guys though. Kickstarters. There's of course the Con Before the Storm. Typically, now we're working on the World of Podcasts stretch goal, and there's only a little bit of time left on that. So
come on, guys, we can do it.
Yep. And honestly, like as podcast listeners, if you do listen to a couple shows across a couple games, this is the one you're shooting for. Because even if you're not going to BlizzCon, a lot of the, various games and the podcasts in it will post it to their feed, and you get to enjoy something about different personalities meshing and that sort of thing. So check that out. I also promised a friend I would plug this. So I have a couple of buddies. I've mentioned quite some time ago a podcast called The Mixed Six. It's two of my buddies that get together and they drink 6 beers and talk about 6 topics. Hilarious show to begin with. So they got a Kickstarter now for this card/board game called Party Fowl. That's FOWL. It's the game of drunk ducks, and it's already at 11,000. It's only been up for a few days, but it's gonna be real funny. The artist behind it that they got for it is the guy who does the "This is fine" meme. And
that's awesome.
And just all around, like these guys. I mean, it looks ridiculous when you look at it, but these guys know games. Like they are full-on board card gamers, and they're all about it. So
They're board
it's
card
gonna be a good time.
gamers. Well, why don't they do something exciting then?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this should not be boring.
This is the exciting
Hopefully.
thing they're doing.
Indeed it is.
Bam.
Indeed it is. So yeah, it's called Party Foul on Kickstarter. This should not be boring.
All right. And TBK.
Indeed it is.
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord, and of course over at Heroes Hearth. You can find my written content, concepts, articles, interviews over there. It's starting to stack up a little bit.
Yeah, I've actually.
I'm excited.
I have spent the last couple days. I am slowly revamping my Heroes Hearth profile, and I'm planning
me
to
too,
get
same.
into the Heroes Hearth community. It's something I
It's a
keep
great site.
talking about, and I keep forgetting, and I've been using that website for builds and stuff, very much so as of recent. So I want to get on there, start doing some builds of my own, maybe some other stuff. So get on there. It's a cool website, and it's undergone a lot of changes as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Sword, for helping support the show, as well as Wicked Kitten, our mod in chat, keeping things clean. Until next time, we will see you in the ring next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm. Have a good one, everyone.
Enough. I shall do no more.
All right. Ugh.
Enough.
Heroes time,
No more.
right?